Bethesda Game Studios, the award-winning creators of Skyrim and Fallout 4, welcome you to Fallout 76, the online prequel where every surviving human is a real person. Work together or not to survive. Under the threat of nuclear annihilation, you'll experience the largest, most dynamic, in-game microtransaction store ever created in the legendary Fallout universe. Trigger alert. This video is full of non-factual, personal opinions and esoteric musings about Fallout. In the interests of transparency, I should confess that I'm a self-professed Fallout fanboy. I have previously issued warnings on my channel that my opinions on Fallout, our Lord and Saviour Todd Howard, and Bethesda should be treated as utterly biased. I fucking stream Fallout 4 on Twitch. I pre-ordered Fallout 76. In fact, Fallout is one of the only series of games that I blindly pre-order in this age of pre-order bullshit, skullduggery and shit-fuckery. Whilst I don't consider myself a hardcore fan because I've never completed the first 2 Fallout games, I have capped over 1,000 hours played in Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas and Fallout 4. That's 1,000 plus hours each game. True, I put less than 10 hours into all the early Fallout games prior to Fallout 3. I'm not saying that I'm an authority on Fallout, or know more than you. I'm just saying, before the fanboys, or fangirls, I'm not sexist, grab their pitchforks and burn me as a fucking witch, I just want to point out that I'm a fanboy too. I just happen to have some grave concerns about Fallout 76. I'm making this video because people kept asking me what I thought about Fallout 76, and I'll be honest, it's the first time I've been worried about what the fuck Bethesda is doing. Before I get into the meat and bones of this video, let's set the scene with a quick, boshed up, oversimplified account of the history behind the franchise. Fallout is one of the most venerable video game series ever produced, set in a retro-futuristic post-apocalyptic future where the world of technological optimism and affluence was reduced almost entirely to rubble and ashes in the nuclear fire of a global thermonuclear Armageddon. In various ways, you pick your way through the remnants of civilization, doing what you need to survive in a mostly hostile world. It started out as an isometric, top-down, turn-based RPG, and evolved into a first-person / third-person combat-based RPG. Depending on who you speak to, of course. They have all been single-player, offline, PvE, personal experiences. The Fallout series spans over 20 years, 5 developers, 3 publishers, 5 cancelled games, and 8 published games to date. The 9th game, which will be the first multiplayer, always online, live service game, will be Fallout 76. For this Fallout rodeo, the developer is Bethesda Game Studios and the publisher is Bethesda Softworks. The term Bethesda is often used as a catch-all phrase for those dudes who make Fallout games these days. Whilst technically the lack of distinction between Bethesda Game Studios and Bethesda Softworks is incorrect, sometimes it matters, but frankly, most of the time it doesn't. BGS make the game and BS sell it, and they are joined at the fucking hip. For the time being, I will mostly, however, just use the term Bethesda as a catch-all term because I'm a lazy fuck. Nice. Some people would still make a decent case that Fallout New Vegas was by far the best game in the series. Personally, I think Fallout 3 was. Some hardcore RPG fans probably spat their coffee onto their titty girl desktop when I said that, shouting at the screen, "Fallout 1 was the definitive game." People still buy and play the original Fallout game today. and I'm regularly told I should do the same. This is all significant because from a distance, Fallout often looks like a homogeneous brand like Zippo or K-Bar, which has survived the test of time with the same design philosophy and consistent quality. But the reality is that Fallout series is more like Harley Davidson or Skoda. The badge on the outside might have stayed the same, but the owners, quality and end product has fluctuated wildly over the years. Fallout New Vegas was developed by Obsidian Entertainment. Fallout 3 was developed by Bethesda Game Studios. Fallout 1 was created and developed by Interplay Productions. I mean shit, some game franchises change significantly just as a result of certain developers leaving or joining the project. The Fallout franchise has entirely changed fucking hands multiple times. The point I'm trying to make is that the Fallout series is part of gaming history, has a long history, and there's a lot of strong feelings about the games and the history. And I mean strong feelings. And the word Fallout means very different things to different people. I mean, the official Wikipedia page for Fallout series lists Fallout New Vegas as a fucking spin-off game. You can bet your ass someone at Bethesda edited that fucking page. For many fans, New Vegas represents the definitive Fallout experience, and Obsidian should be put back in charge of developing all Fallout titles. Personally, I have enjoyed all the Fallout titles I've played. I've never played a bad Fallout game, and have thus far loved every Fallout game I've played in different ways. Well, I had a quick go at the mobile game, felt my fucking soul die a little on the inside, and uninstalled it when it asked me to pay money for some random time-saving in-game fucking shit. But putting the mobile app aside for a moment, for a very large community of gamers, the Fallout franchise literally represents some of the best video games ever made, and that is certainly what it means to me. Significantly though, for a long time Fallout has been a much loved but not front page franchise. There was a time when Fallout was much less well known and had almost a cult-like status. There was a time when many gamers had never even heard of Fallout. These days, Fallout is as well known as any AAA title. And there, as they say, there goes the fucking neighbourhood. So what the fuck is Fallout 76? And why is it controversial? Fallout 76 is the 9th game in the Fallout series. The soon-to-be released, always online, multiplayer, live service iteration of the Fallout series. Technically, it's being released on November the 14th, 2018. But let's just act like grown-ups for a fucking second, spit the bullshit out of our throats and be honest. The beta has turned into a paid early access period for players, starting in phases from October the 30th. Progress will be carried over. It's not really a fucking beta. You pay money to play earlier than everyone else. It's a 2-week paid early access period, so the launch date is really the end of October. And de facto, a pay to win mechanic. You pay up early at the maximum price and you get a 2-week head start on all of the other players in a fucking online PvP game. That, my fucking friend, by fucking definition, is pay to fucking win. Apparently Fallout 76 barely has a story quest. All the mobs are AI, all humans are players. It's PvP with some confusion about whether it will have a solo PvE option and what the fuck that will actually even mean. It's going to be refined on the fly based on player feedback. 1 minute Todd Howard is saying there is a PvE option. The next minute, technically he meant you can play solo. But you will always be in a PvP environment. Who knows what the official line will be next week? It's going to be jam-packed with cosmetic microtransactions. And this is an off-the-shelf, no surprises here attempt to drag the Fallout franchise into the live service game paradigm. Potentially, Fallout 76 is, God forbid, Bethesda's long-awaited response to the fans saying, "Wouldn't it be cool if you could play this with your friends?" But some of us are wondering whether Fallout 76 is really Bethesda Game Studios' long-awaited response to the accountant saying, "Let's do a shitty live service game and make barrel loads of cash by churning out shitty Radiant quests, a bit of base building and a fuck ton of microtransactions, and then roll around in piles of $100 bills, sniffing cocaine off a hooker's arse and laughing at the fans." Live service games are optimistically promoted as a way to constantly develop a game during and after launch to enhance the player experience. The reality is it's a way to tinker with a game on the fly to trade a modest trickle of new content for a lot of fucking microtransaction sales and maintain revenue and income long after the customer has bought the game. Think of live service in these terms. It's like someone selling you a new car at full fucking premium price and then they try and force you to pay rent for it as well. So let's talk about the warning signs and why I'm very worried about Fallout 76. For me, playing Fallout games has been a beautiful and solitary experience, surviving the post-apocalyptic wasteland, savouring the momentary glimpses of humanity in a desolate world. But despite the nature of the game, I never thought this game was about loneliness or inhumanity. It was a narrative where the brief moments of connection and camaraderie and humanity meant so much more because they were more rare, fragile and fleeting. Yes, it occurred to me occasionally that it would be nice to be able to invite a friend into my experience. And multiplayer might be an interesting idea. But Fallout for me was a game where you enjoyed the solitude in a ravished world. And that's the way I thought it should stay. To be blunt, I played Fallout to escape and be on my own. I can play fucking Hello Kitty online if I want to hang around with my mates. An online Fallout game was a nice pipe dream that was nice to fantasise about, whilst deep down knowing it would probably be a fucking disaster and wreck the feeling of the game. Like sitting in the pub, talking shit about climbing Everest. It's a fun idea, but you know deep down you would just fucking fall down a crevasse and die horribly after about the first 2 miles. I loved Fallout games. I loved Todd Howard, and Bethesda was my temple. But sometimes a moment comes that shakes your faith. I tried to ignore it and focus on the shrine of Todd Howard and keep praying furiously. I clamped my eyes shut, stoically ignoring the telltale warnings like a good acolyte of the cult of Bethesda. But eventually that cognitive dissonance ate away, and then I said it out loud. They made a fucking Fallout mobile game.
Have no fear though, as you can obtain Nuka-Cola Quantum to speed up the game pace by, you guessed it, microtransactions.
Seriously?
Those with little patience may find themselves investing real money into purchasing Nuka-Cola Quantum.
If that wasn't a red flag that something is going wrong in the House of Howard, then nothing is.
These lunchboxes are similar to loot boxes in other games.
Seriously? I've observed several commentators claim that everything that is Fallout 76 has been foreshadowed by Bethesda. They have claimed that all the signs were there to see. Base building DLCs in Fallout 4 that lots of people totally fucking hated. The ridiculous, relentless and monotonous Radiant quests given out by Preston Garvey. In-game microtransactions, and Bethesda trying to effectively grab a piece of the modding action with the Creation Club in-game store. And then there was the curious case of Fallout Shelter. And once the spell was broken, I could see the red flags were fucking everywhere. Bethesda seemed to be constantly changing their minds and backtracking in interviews over the course of the summer. Bethesda claiming they would love to do cross-platform play, but blamed PlayStation for blocking it. Then PlayStation changed their stance. Then Bethesda said nah, we got no plans for cross-platform. Talk about calling someone's fucking bluff. Then they were disingenuous about the beta. Disingenuous is a posh word for fucking lying. We fucking paid for that. It was in the product description when we pre-ordered it. I pre-ordered the game with a promise to get access to the beta. Now it turns out the beta is fucking late. So late in fact, it only goes live just before launch. And only for short windows during the day. And progress carries over into the live game. And feedback won't be implemented before launch. And Xbox gets to go first by a week.
Play the beta first on Xbox One.
Then Bethesda described it as a stress test. So I stumped up my fucking cash for beta access so I could play the game early and get some footage and some information on the game. And now there isn't one. It's early access. Shit early access for 4 to 6 hours a day. Maybe. And Xbox goes first. And so far, nobody has apologised for bullshitting us. I posted on Reddit asking how other players felt about the beta changes. First off, the question got downvoted like a motherfucker. Some people were very helpful. Some people jumped in and started throwing hay balers defending Bethesda. Some even basically said, it's my lookout, it's my fault. In fact, the most popular fanboy defence I've heard so far across multiple social media platforms is this. It's your fault for not doing enough research. If you spend your money foolishly and get ripped off, then that is not Bethesda's fault. Which in itself is a defence more associated with companies like EA, for fuck's sake. That's not normally the kind of arguments associated with defending Bethesda. Most significantly, people started to qualify, it's a beta, not a beta. They were referring to the jokey break it early test application jokes in their press info. Then the penny dropped. This wasn't a joke. They are going to hide behind this excuse. And when I checked it, it was everywhere. So far, all official social media and press information has referred to it as the beta. That kind of fucking global consistency does not occur by accident. This is obviously a deliberate instruction from the Public Relations Department at Bethesda. I got a lot of interesting feedback from the Fallout 76 subreddit, and for that I'm grateful. Thank you to everyone who took the time to share their thoughts, information and opinions. I would also note that at the worst point the post was 85% downvoted. That's a pretty fucking hostile reaction for simply asking a legitimate question about the beta changes. Maybe nobody fucking cares apart from me and a couple of other YouTubers. That's an option. It's a fairly depressing option, but there you go. I mean, you can look at the FAQ on the official website, but by its own admission, Bethesda is changing the details on the fly and with no notice and is not legally accountable for anything written there. What appears to have happened is that Bethesda has deliberately traded on the joke about beta and the break it early test application as a kind of get out of jail free card. Well, GG Bethesda, great joke. You got us all with your great joke. But a word to the fucking wise. Only ever joke with your own money, because joking with other people's money fucks them off. Well, I'm not going to get into a fucking debate about free market economics, libertarianism and consumer rights, but I'll just say this. I've always trusted Bethesda in the past, but I don't fucking trust them anymore. If I can't trust what they say on their advertising because they might be joking, then fuck them. I don't trust them anymore. I mean, fucking research. Since when did you have to do fucking research to see if Bethesda is misleading you in their marketing? Well, from now on, I guess. Add to all of this, from what I've seen so far, the game is pulling out all the usual microtransactional arsefuckery of the live service genre. Selfie mechanics, custom skins, limited edition cosmetics, emotes. All those bread and butter cliched money makers that you can make your friends envious with so that they utter the magic fucking microtransactional words of, "Where did you get that from?" And finally, They have multiple in-game currencies. One you earn, one you pay for with cold hard cash. Yes, it's a fucking mobile app in-game microtransactional shitfest. They clearly have a whole floor of child psychologists and behavioural analysts working day and fucking night to make sure as much psychological manipulation as humanly possible is brought to bear on the players to pressure them into buying the latest cosmetic items or in-game toys. And that's when I started to notice a couple of rather disingenuous and possibly fake posts on the subreddit, where 3-month-old likely sock puppets were trying to start up discussions and hearty debate about getting excited about cosmetic microtransactional outfits. You know the drill. Someone shows up on a fresh account posting shit like, "I'm super hyped about the new outfits in Fallout 76. Which outfits are you guys excited about getting?" Then the pedo cash post-traumatic stress disorder hit me. Here we fucking go again. Then there were the weird interviews, where nobody has anything really inspiring to say about the game. They just kept banging on about shared experience and how the players will make the game experience, make their own fun.
When they create their own fun, when they create their own fun, when they create their own fun.
In an online PvP game? Really? I'm sorry, but I've witnessed the reality of how that shared experience goes down in PvP games. Shared experience?
Let's get your team fucking mopped up, bitch! Let's get your fucking team mopped up, bitch! Woo! Yeah, you fucking scumbag!
Fucking smells like a bucket of fucking cum. He smells like sour cream and feet.
Dude, shoot it over there, you fucking retard. You ain't worth a fuck, buddy. You know that? Oh my god, guy. You ain't worth a fuck. Why are you always getting in my fucking way? What is your fucking problem, nigger?
Shared experience, my fucking hairy ass. I'm very worried because it looks like Bethesda Softworks has taken a long, hard, salivating look at the bullshit live service games pie and thought, time to stick our fist into that fucker and grab a handful of beef and gravy. I think Bethesda has looked at what the rest of the gaming industry is doing and decided, fuck our brand, fuck integrity, fuck our customers. Let's just bury our face into the giant warm tits of microtransactions and loot crates and suckle as much fucking money as we possibly can whilst the milk is still flowing. Right now, I'm worried that Fallout 76 is going to be some kind of weird economic mutant hybrid of The Division, Destiny 2, Star Wars Battlefront 2, combined with a fucking mobile game, only with more microtransactions. If that's actually possible. So what is my analysis of all of this then? The live service game is a worrying paradigm and a scary trend. Make no mistake, anyone who tries to sell you live service as a positive thing is full of shit. It's like someone describing a cavity search as a free medical exam. Live service is an accountancy term in reality. It means a game designed to be always online, so everything can be manipulated in real time, analysed in real time, and profit can be maximised in real time. Added content is optional. If you want to get your head around live service, don't think about video games. Think about things like Facebook, Cambridge Analytica, and voter manipulation. The future of live service is about giving a publisher real-time access to your online activity, so they can manipulate you. If you don't believe me, go and watch a few videos about the weird and frankly disturbing patents being filed by game publishers at the moment. In the industry, live service is about maintaining revenue and income streams after they sold the game to someone. It's about selling a game and then persuading the players to keep spending money on stuff. That stuff usually being pixels, e.g. cosmetic microtransactions. Then of course there is the trolling factor in Fallout 76. I'm curious about how they're going to balance PvP with the innate desire of a lot of Fallout players to not get trolled and fucked over. Nuclear strikes got removed from Call of Duty because they were too fucking troll. Yeah, they trolled too hard for Call of Duty. That's a fucking badge of honour, right there. But Bethesda in their wisdom initially thought it would be fucking hilarious to let players nuke each other's bases. Lots of the elements of PvP seem to be getting dialed back to make them less offensive based on all of the fucking complaining. But therein lies the problem. You can't have good PvP and also make things nice. Most games handle this problem by separating zones into PvP and PvE. World of Warcraft, The Division. Fuck, even Battlefield has a story and multiplayer mode, and that's a fucking shooter. The point is that if PvP is going to be good, it has to be violent, brutal, and merciless. If PvE is going to be nice and let you get on with things, you need protection from PvP. Something has to give. Then there is the less than honest representation of the beta. I'm sorry, but being able to play the game a week earlier than the other players, keep all your progress and just continue the game, that's not a fucking beta. That's fucking paid for early access. That's frankly just bullshit. Following Bethesda's logic, I'm a fucking qualified pilot. I fly a plane all the time. It's a plane with no wings, 4 wheels and flies along the ground. But I'm calling it a fucking plane. So it's a plane, right? Well, their beta test has no wings, 4 wheels and drives along the fucking ground. So I'm going to declare it fucking pay to win early access, head start, in an online multiplayer game. My biggest takeaway so far is that Bethesda has suddenly forgotten what Fallout franchise, their brand, and their players are all about. They initially tried to roll this game out as a massive PvP troll fest. Let's put that red flag in the growing pile of big red warning flags that ideologically Bethesda has lost the fucking plot. But now these zealous fanboys will continue to attack anyone that criticises what's gone on so far. But that good faith will only hold out so long. Then there is the issue of anti-cheat. Yeah, that old chestnut. They're gonna fuck it up. I said it. I think the first few months are going to be full of stories about people running into squads of teleporting hackers with 1 million HP and death ray weapons who screamed abuse at them and then nuked their fucking base. I am enthusiastically looking forward to being proved wrong, but right now Fallout 76 is in great danger of being a game where all the stuff that makes Fallout special has been removed and its core has been replaced with everything that makes online PvP games shit. I will let you know on Twitter the first time someone says they fucked my mum in the middle of a fight. I think the most worrying takeaway from all of the promotional coverage I've seen so far is simply this. Analyse the language they're using. They keep discussing this game in terms of social, shared activity, shared experience. Fuck, they sound like they're marketing a fucking mobile phone nightclub app. This is not the language of Fallout. This is the vocabulary of people trying to sell you fucking microtransactions. It's sales speak, and I'm very, very worried. I think the big problem with the microtransactions will be that despite being cosmetic only for now, the whole game seems to be built around selfies and fucking group photos, where they're engineering situations where you can be the cool guy in the flash armour or the fucking pikey standing at the back of the school photo covered in shit. This said, in an interview only 2 months ago, it seemed pretty clear that the entire in-game currency / pedo cash infrastructure wasn't even fucking finalised. So we're getting a lot of reassuring promises about stuff they admit isn't finished, and that they admit might be changed once the game goes live. I've learned from hard fucking experience, never trust anyone who tells you everything is going to be alright if they have no fucking clue what is going to happen. I don't need tummy rubs about the microtransactions and it not being paid to win. I need factual reassurances about what is going to happen. I would like to take a fast detour to quickly tell a story about risk-taking and video games. I guess the point I'm trying to make is that whilst Fallout 76 worries a lot of people, especially me, evolving a franchise doesn't necessarily mean bad things will happen. Some clever fella in the film industry once said, always give the audience what they want, but never in the way they want it. I say all of this simply to make the point that just because Fallout 76 has all the hallmarks of a fucking train wreck, I am glad it's being made, and I hope it's fucking great. 2 examples. When it was announced that Fallout 3 was going to modernise the franchise and become a first and third person game instead of turn-based strategy, lots of people lost their shit, complaining that it would destroy the game. But they did it anyway, and the heart and soul of the game remained intact. When it was mentioned that the modern remake of XCOM was going to do precisely the same thing and go from a top-down turn-based strategy to first person, everyone lost their shit. But on this occasion, the developer choked and backed down. Whether the new XCOM is good or bad is a matter of personal opinion, but I'll tell you one thing. It's not fucking XCOM anymore. They decided instead to modernise that franchise by stripping out most of the core game mechanics instead. Strategy, base management, material management, research and micromanagement, and turned it essentially into a fucking dumbed down tabletop turn-based battle game. Basically, it just wasn't XCOM anymore, which was a game about micromanagement and managing your base. The moral of the story is, Fallout 76 looks like a horrible idea, turning Fallout into a fucking online PvP game. But I'm glad they're ignoring all the critics and doubters and are doing it anyway, because the end result might actually be fucking brilliant. Maybe I will be proved wrong, and I hope I will be proved wrong. Sometimes you have to keep an open mind when someone evolves a video game franchise, because maybe it will turn out great. Fallout 3 did. So yes, I have grave concerns, but I am still open-minded about the possible outcomes. Look, I'm a Fallout fanboy, and I want the game to excel. I never set out to make a pessimistic video about Fallout 76, but people kept asking me what I thought about it. And I agreed to make a video. And now here we are. For me, the scariest thing about the whole Fallout 76 project is this. Fallout 76 is being plugged as a live service game. They keep banging on about how they will watch what happens when the game rolls out, respond to player concerns, change things if it don't work. And across the breadth of all of the interviews, they say one thing one month and change their minds by the next. They seem incredibly eager to please the customers, which is great, but it's like they're just being entirely reactive. I don't see anyone talking with genuine passion or excitement. It's like everyone is being paid to say nice things. So here is what I'm concerned about.
When they create their own fun.
Create their own fun? Shit, man. He sounds like a hostage being forced to make a confession on camera. I've never seen him so unenthusiastic. For whatever reason, this interview reminded me of that song, Kind Lust, by Rammstein. All the best Fallout games were epic because they had a core philosophy. It wasn't just the stuff in the game. It wasn't the loot, or outfits, or selfie cams, or fucking loot crates. The truly great Fallout games were great because people had vision, and they created that vision. Fallout 76 so far has not provided any fucking evidence whatsoever that they have a vision beyond the following. They want to create a live service game. They want an open world setting. They want it to be full of in-game purchases and selfie cams. They want to use Skinner psychology to keep customers engaged. They want to keep the customers happy. They want to keep the customers spending. They want to be reactive to opinions and statistics as they emerge. As fucking Shakespeare might say, all of this shit does not a good video game make. This game does not seem to have a point apart from simply existing. This is not the fucking design philosophy of a video game. This is the business philosophy of a fucking phone app. I think Fallout 76 is in great danger of ending up being the elevator music of video games. It's going to be the Girl from Ipanema, played on a fucking Hammond organ. It's not going to have a soul. It's going to be a soulless game with no vision. And the only joy you will get from it will be derived from the fact that you are playing with your friends. Bethesda needs to be commended for listening to the players and trying to give them what they asked for. But I'm getting that creeping, uncomfortable feeling that Fallout 76 isn't really about the players now. It's about following the money. This is some internal political rift inside Bethesda where some group of senior managers are saying, let's jump on the live service model train and bang out some shiny shit and extract every last fucking penny. I think charts went up on the wall, showing effort in versus financial reward out. Bethesda has a long heritage of keeping people waiting and then over-delivering. Fallout 76 is being rushed to market and they're doing a bit of bullshitting as they do it. But I can't work out what's bullshit and what's them just changing their minds every 2 minutes. But they don't really seem to know what the fuck is going on with their own game. And they're making it. No two ways about it, as a corporate entity, their recent conduct has been inconsistent with their brand. A brand that I fucking love. It's worth noting that we're at this point because many of the players kept banging on about a multiplayer mode. At the start I quoted the oft-cited paraphrased comment, "Wouldn't it be cool if you could play Fallout with your friends?" When people playing Fallout 3 New Vegas or Fallout 4 said that, they meant play that game with their friends. Fallout 76 is not the same thing. Whether it turns out to be good in its own right is another matter. For me personally, dog meat was all the company I ever needed. And maybe a bit of Piper on those cold winter nights. But a Fallout multiplayer PvP microtransactional fuckfest, I never needed that. I'm not saying Fallout 76 is definitely going to be shit. I'm just saying it has spectacular potential for turning into a fucking train wreck. But for now, good luck and happy hunting.